Hey guys, so in this video I decided to break down all of the jump spots that I know on the Rebirth Island map, and I did this a little over a year ago, and it's been a really long time. There's some new jump spots that I didn't mention in the old video, so I decided to make another video about it today. A lot of these jumps are going to be very beginner jumps, so this video is more geared towards people that may not know most of the jumps in the map. But there are definitely some very spicy and very intermediate jumps in this video as well that some of you guys may not know. If I did forget a jump spot that you know, feel free to leave it in the comments below or message me a clip of you doing it on Twitter. Let me know how I did in the video in the comments below as well. And of course, if you guys want to protect your eyes while gaming or looking at monitors, you can use code Bearpig at Gamer Advantage's website to save 10% off of your order for blue light glasses. Link is in the description. I hope you guys will enjoy the video. All right, so our first stop, the ultimate Rebirth Island jump spot guide, is going to have to be this building right here that I always forget the name of, bioweapon. There's not really that many jump spots in this, but this is basically all of them that I know and all of them that are actually useful. You can obviously do this. Most of you guys probably know this one, but if you wanted to flank into this building, you can easily jump onto the forklift through this window. A good way to get to the second floor. There's also another one that's a little bit less practical. Say somebody's like camping this doorway, right? And you want to get in there without going through the doorway. You can technically kind of get on this and do a little side swipe, you know, and get in here. And then you can like flank the people watching the doorway if you wanted to. Other than that, being a jump spot, there is also the one where if you go up here and somebody's watching this doorway, most of you guys probably know this one as well, but you can kind of just like get out of the window and do that. Beam anybody that's baiting the doorway or watching the doorway. And the rest of the jump spots in this area are pretty useless in my opinion, but there are still other ones. The simple back strafe off of the roof into the window is definitely possible at every window in the building, but I don't know exactly where all the windows are, so these ones are just a little weird, you know, but you can technically do that. It's a little useless though. You can do that with any window on this building because there's no roof overhang, so I guess if you can find a use for it, by all means. There's like these little ones here too, which are kind of useless. You can make it in that window if you wanted to. And yeah, I think that covers all of the jump spots and bioweapons, I'm pretty sure. All right, guys, so for the second part of the jump spot video, I'm going to look at chemical. And most of you guys probably know the jump spots in this building, as there aren't really that many, but you can easily jump onto this handrail, onto this wall, and onto this roof, which of course will allow you like easy access to get to the top floor of this building without having to take the stairs if the stairs are being baited. Another one that you can do, this one's kind of tricky. I never get it my first attempt, but if you stand in this kind of like a little angle, you can kind of mantle your way onto the roof of this building, which will allow you to get on the roof and get anybody that may be baiting the ladder. This is a trick that I do sometimes. If people are baiting on the top floor and I just want to like make them look goofy or whatever, you can kind of do that little, you know, roof jump downwards and mantle into the window to get onto the top floor this way. Other than that, there's not really other jump spots in chemical that aren't like super self-explanatory, you know. There is this one. I guess you can kind of stand right here if you wanted to and get into the window on the lower floor, but that one's not really super necessary. All right, I may have forgotten one thing from chemical. I'm re-recording this chemical part. You can actually jump onto this ledge right here as well, get onto this roof. This one's not really that useful, but you can get from the roof and jump onto this roof. Basically, it makes it so you don't have to like walk all the way around in the open and climb the wall over there where there's a crate on the other side, or take the zip line. So like if you wanted like an easy way to like, I guess, get to this ledge without having to walk all the way around, you can just do that, like what I mentioned earlier. All right, so for the third spot, or Decon Zone, I really dislike being in this building like all the time. I really dislike being in this building like all the time. If you guys watch my videos regularly, you know that I rarely ever go over here unless the circle forces me. There's not really that many jump spots in Decon, especially ones that you guys probably don't know. But one very basic one that does help quite a bit is on all of these lamps right here that are on the pillars, like supporting the roof. You can jump onto the bookshelves that are against the wall, jump onto the lamp, and then jump over the ledge, which will allow you to get up here without taking the ladder or the stairs. That's basically the only jump spot that's on the interior of this building. And as most of you guys probably know, you can also get onto this little weird wall thing or whatever and jump anywhere on the roof that you need to get onto the roof another way from the edges. And yeah, like other than those like two jumps, I don't really think that there is that many other jump spots that are like that necessary to help you. I guess like one little tip that I have learned over like the years of playing Rebirth, if you're on this roof and you want to get to this buy station, you actually don't have to open your parachute, which some of you guys may be wondering why I'm even mentioning this, but opening your parachute makes it slower when you're landing in, and it allows for people to hear your parachute, and it also allows people to easily shoot you while you're parachuting. So just as like a nice tip, if you want to jump off of that roof, you can jump off of the roof and land on the top of the fence without breaking your legs and without needing the parachute. Now for the fourth part of it on the list, we are over at Harbor, and there's only really 2 or 3 jump spots in this area that are actually worth using. So for the first one, after they buff the mantle height, it is very easy to mantle onto this ledge and get onto the roof if you need to. Most of you guys probably knew that one. There is another way to get onto the roof from the other side though that some of you guys may not know. So basically, it's the same concept. Obviously, you jump and mantle, but if you can get yourself onto this little fence right here, I guess you can do that too. If you can get yourself onto this little fence right here, you can kind of do like a little sideways mantle, you know, and get onto the roof itself. This one's a little tricky, but it is possible, as you can see. And other than that, I don't really think there's anything else over here at Harbor for any jump spots. If I left any out and you guys know of a jump spot in this very small building, let me know. All right, so for the fourth part of the jump spot video, I don't really know what this building's called. I think it's part of Harbor. I just call it Red Roof because of the red roof, obviously. There are actually a lot of jump spots in this area, if you believe it or not. So the first one is pretty easy. You know, you just mantle onto this, get onto the roof if you need to get onto the roof to flank anybody or whatever. There is also, of course, you know, these jump spots where you can get onto the second floor without taking these stairs and get into the window if you wanted to. There is one thing that I do in this area that is incredibly useful. After I show you the jump spot, I'll show you. This is another way to get onto the roof that's pretty useless, but you can, you know, do it this way if you really need to or want to. And of course, the blue barrel method as well, as most of you guys probably know, is an easy way to get onto the roof as well. The one thing that I'm talking about, though, that a lot of people don't know about is this. Say you are over here, but you want to get to the roof and they're watching this window. A lot of people will never expect you doing this. Now, this is a little tricky with auto attack sprint, but you can walk on the skinny ledge right here and get onto the roof right here and flank anybody that might be sitting like this. You know what I mean? Because you'll just pop up behind them and they'll never expect a thing. And lastly, before the timer runs out and they spawn us in, you can jump from this roof onto this area right here without having to go all the way around. It's not very useful, but it is a jump, and I decided to put it in the video just because. Now for the next part of the jump spot video, we do have Nova 6 Factory, which most of you guys know has some of the weirdest and craziest jumps you can do. Multiple ways to get onto the roof other than taking the stairs or the zip lines. You guys have seen me do this one a lot, but if you time your jump perfectly, you can mantle onto this air conditioner, which will allow you to get onto the roof. There are more spots along this edge that you can do that on that some people may not know about, considering this one is the one I'm talking about. You can do the same thing basically where you mantle onto this ledge and get onto the roof that way. And then lastly, the very obvious one that most people do when they want to get onto the roof is this one, of course. Now, if you guys watch my videos regularly, you've probably seen me do this trick before, but if you wanted to get onto the main level or the top floor and there's a whole team there camping or whatever and you want to sneak up on them, if you line yourself up with this air conditioner on the right hand side, push backwards, and then mantle into the window, you can do that. So if anybody's watching the stairs from the top or the stairs at the bottom, then you can easily do that jump and get into that window, and it always throws them off guard, I promise. Another jump spot that Nova 6 that most of you guys have seen me do or have done yourself is that if you are on this top catwalk and you hear somebody directly below you on the lower one, you can kind of strafe your way off the ledge and onto the ledge of the lower catwalk, which of course will allow you to get onto the lower level without taking these stairs and without taking any like route that people tend to camp. And next on my list is obviously my favorite spot. You guys probably know this, but this is the headquarters building. There are a ton of random jump spots in this area that will definitely help you gain an edge on anybody that's camping in the building. The first one, and the one that I probably use the least, is that you can get onto the little ledge of this staircase. You can mantle onto this ledge right here. From this ledge you can get up here, and from up here you can get to the roof, which obviously gives you roof access in a way that not a lot of people would ever really expect. Another one, which is my personal favorite, I got this house dubbed the Bearpig house way back in the day when Rebirth first came out because of this jump. And most of you guys know this one, but I figured I'd put it in here. You just mantle and into the window from the roof, which will allow you to push anybody that may be camping the stairs or on the roof itself. Another way is, of course, getting onto the wall and onto the ledge. And if you guys didn't know, and you guys probably do know, but if you didn't know, when they changed the mantle height, this is actually possible. So you can do that now if you so choose, and you don't really have to take the wall. You can do the same thing on this ledge as well. You just have to make sure you hit it from the side, because if you try to hit it from the front, it's not going to work. Then, of course, while we're getting chased by this guy, this is a perfect example of why this jump works very well. If you don't want to take the ladder and want to quickly get to the roof, you can mantle onto the ledge from the top of the roof right there. So instead of having to take the ladder and, you know, expose yourself climbing a very slow ladder animation, you can just do this, and it helps a ton. There's another jump spot in headquarters, one that I don't really do very often, but it does exist. Since they changed the mantle height, you can jump onto this ledge, which will allow you to get into this window. But if you didn't know, you can get to the second floor from this window, and this one's a little tricky, I'm not gonna lie. See, I messed it up myself. It is a little tricky, but yes, if you get into this window and kind of sideways mantle it, you can get onto this ledge without having to take the stairs or the front entrance window to get onto the second floor, which of course, as most of you guys know, you can do this as well. Little mechanical box onto the roof, and also vents onto the roof as well. They did add this ladder with the reinforced update, which is pretty nice. It's another way to get on the roof without having to do a jump spot. If you want to get into the second floor window of the lighthouse building, you easily can from this roof. You just have to jump and parachute into the window, and you are there, allowing you to get to the second floor without taking the staircase, which most people, when they camp in this building, they do tend to bait the staircase. All right, so for the last few jump spots that I wasn't able to record in that last game attempt, if you are on the roof, as most of you guys know, of the lighthouse building, you can basically do that little jump that I mentioned earlier at Chemical, where you stand onto the roof ledge and kind of just back yourself off and push forward into the window. That is possible on every window in this building. You can do it in this window if you want. You can do it in this window if you want from the roof. Also, there is another kind of like an easier method to do it, the one that I use the most whenever I'm in this situation. I'll do the same kind of jump, but instead of going like over the ledge over the window, this makes it a little bit easier, where you can just kind of sideways mantle into the window from the roof like that. So basically, if you time your jump right on this AC unit, jump right at the corner, you basically, this one's a little challenging, but you basically just have to jump, parachute, break your chute, and then mantle. So you have to break the chute and then mantle, like at the perfect timing to actually make this jump. Obviously, from this corner, you can make it onto here, and then as well as, you know, you can get onto this side of the building as well from the corner. After headquarters, there are a few jump spots in living quarters as well. Some of you guys have probably seen me do it in some of my videos before. But one of my favorites, actually, is if you want to get onto the second floor of this building without having to go inside the building or take the stairs or anything, you can actually get to it from this staircase right here. This is another one that's slightly challenging, because if you overshoot your jump, you'll jump off this part of the inclined surface and you won't be able to make it. So you have to like time it right there at the end. But you can actually jump off of the ledge into this window, which will then of course allow you to get onto the second floor of the building in a way that most people will never actually expect you to do. And it's a very good jump spot, especially if you're trying to fight somebody like that guy right there. There are a few more jump spots in living quarters that I find pretty useful in day-to-day Rebirth Island gaming. And of course, if you were on this ledge, you can get into this little window right here if you really wanted to. Most of you guys probably already knew that one. There are a couple more as well. Obviously, the red building, the one closest to the big greenhouse, you can easily strafe into the window from the ladder. This one, I feel like they nerfed this jump recently. I don't know. Sometimes it's harder to pull off, but you can do that as well. The jump that I mentioned earlier in Chemical, where you use backwards strafe off of the roof and then push forward into the window, you can do that on any of these windows as well on the back of these buildings. There is another one that is pretty challenging, I'm not gonna lie, but it is possible. You can parachute off of the tall roof into either of these windows, but if you time your jump right, you can also do this, which a lot of people don't know. And you need a light gun to make that one work. You don't need a light gun to make this one work. This one requires you to deploy your chute, while this one does not. And you can actually reverse it as well. If you are pretty ballsy, you can do this and get back into the second floor window if you so choose, if you want to push kids that are baiting that staircase, etc. There are more jump spots in the living quarters area. The ones that I mentioned before are pretty useful, I'm not gonna lie. But just like the Chemical building and just like any other backward strafe jump, you can get into any of the windows inside of this building by simply backward strafing into them. This one's a little bit more tricky and a little bit useless, but you know, it is possible, and I just wanted to mention that you can do this in any of the open windows on the second floor of the building. It throws a lot of people off guard, and they'll never really expect you coming through that window if you do land on the roof with like the SMG or whatever towards endgame. And then of course, the last jump I think that living quarters has to offer is any of these windows in the front of the building. You can jump onto this little canopy thing, and you can use them to flank too. So you can go back into the window that I just jumped out of. You can jump out of this window onto the canopy, back into the window from the canopy, and you can use that to flank if you land on the roof with an SMG. All right, guys, so one of the most popular areas to land in on Rebirth Island actually has the least amount of jump spots, in my opinion. And this, of course, I am talking about Control Center. There's not really that many jump spots that are worth really explaining. I guess, like, if you wanted to, you could technically, you know, get into the bridge from that ledge. That is a jump spot that is possible. It's kind of useful if you want to push somebody on the second floor. The other jump spots are pretty self-explanatory. Everybody knows how to get onto the roof from the little handrail. Everybody knows how to get on the roof from that crate. And yeah, I mean, if you want to get across, you can. As most of you guys know, there is one window jump that I do occasionally. A lot of people, they tend to camp on the top floor of the building, and if there's not that many people alive to like really snipe you in the back while doing this, if you get like right in the middle of this one particular set of pillars and walk backwards, you can actually push off and do the little roof jump just like Chemical into the second floor window or top floor window. A lot of people tend to camp up here. A lot of people will sit right here and watch that doorway, or sit on the stairs and watch the stairs. And when you enter through this window, they will literally never expect it. You have a full line of sight in anybody that is camping up here. Other than that, there's not really any other jump spots in Control that are worth mentioning, but there is one thing that I want to show you guys. If you fall off of this part of the building right here with the pillar, if you fall off of it, you will die. And a lot of people, like, you know that, but also don't know that. So yeah, if you end up falling off of one of the pillars, you will die at any part of this building. But if you fall off of one of these ledges right here, you will not die. So the difference in fall damage is between the pillar height and the actual roof height. Pillar, you die. This part, you don't die, don't, and etc. One last final jump that I did forget until right about now. This one's pretty easy. Most of you guys know this one. If you want to get up to here without going around the staircase and save a little bit of time, you can mantle this shelf and then mantle the ledge, and you are up here. And a little hidden secret camping spot that I don't really want to show you guys, but it's a thing. Boom. Look at that. On the light. You can use it to, I guess, sit here and camp your heart out if that's how you decide to play. Or you can, use it to get out of the windows, etc. Other than that, I don't think there's any more jumps that are in Control. And like usual, if I did miss any that you guys know, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Up next after Control, we do have Prison Block, which I don't really think I need to show you guys many of these jump spots because of how popular Prison Block itself is. But I'm just going to kind of do a quick rundown of random things you can do inside of Prison Block if you want to use these jump spots. So of course, most of you guys know the locker jump onto the handrail, and after they actually buff the mantle height, you can just mantle straight up onto these ledges. You can't mantle onto this bridge though. I've died plenty of times trying it when the mantle height got changed, but you can mantle on this ledge that's slightly lower than the bridge. You can actually do that anywhere that doesn't have a gate inside of prison. So right here you can do it, if you want to do it anywhere that doesn't have a gate that's like, protecting the handrail or whatever, you can do it. Another jump spot similar to the other ones in prison is of course the crate, but this one was kind of rendered useless when they changed the mantle height. Once they changed the mantle height, doing the whole, mantle onto the crate animation doesn't really make sense when you can literally just do this. And you can literally just mantle onto these, it doesn't make sense to use the crate anymore. All right, so I couldn't say live, but as most of you guys know, you can take the little half wall. And of course, this one's the easiest one in the video. Get onto this ledge right here. Most of you guys know that. Before they added this crate, there was no way to get onto this ledge without being on the first floor yourself already, right? Now that this crate's here, it's a lot easier to get onto that ledge. But this one's an old one, you can sideways strafe onto there and get onto this ledge without using the crate. But now that the crate's there, that one's pretty useless. There are obviously the jump spots to get inside of the wall, inside of the courtyard wall. I don't think I really need to go over these, but I'll just show one of them for example. These kinds of crates and barrels are stacked all around the wall on the inside and the outside, and you can easily use them to, get onto the wall itself. And like I mentioned before, obviously most of the jump spots are rendered useless when they added the ability to mantle onto the ledges without a wall. But of course, there are these little lockers that'll let you get up here. These are some of the first jump spots that I ever figured out. They were in the Black Ops 4 version of this map, and this was in my first jump spot video that I made over a year ago. And yeah, there's nothing else to really explain inside of House. All right guys, so this is the final part of the map that I feel like has any real jump spots, and there's not really any in this area that aren't like super obvious. There's only one that I actually know of that's somewhat secret, I guess, and it's this one back here. I guess if you wanted to get to the second floor of this tower building without like taking the stairs inside or whatever, you can kind of just like do this. But like other than that, like there's not really like any other jump spots that are like super worth noting. So this is going to be the shortest part of the video and also the end of the video. As a reminder, if you guys did see any jump spots that I missed during this entire video, feel free to let me know in the comments below or share a link with me on Twitter so I can check it out just in case it's like some super cool jump or something like that. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I don't really do videos like this very often. So if you guys did learn something, feel free to let me know as well. And as always, have a good rest of your day, guys.